Okay. Good morning. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm joined by Erin Mackler of Project Bread, Catherine D'Amato of the Greater Boston Food Bank, and Marty Martinez of the United Way of Massachusetts Bay. We're here this morning because President Trump has made a decision to freeze the flow of SNAP benefits starting this Saturday. As I've said before, there are over 1 million residents in Massachusetts who receive SNAP. They're in every city or town. Over 30% are seniors, another third are children, another third are people with disabilities. And as we are here this morning, right now, the USDA is sitting on $23 billion in a contingency fund that could be used to pay these benefits out across the country. In fact, that's what other presidents have done during a shutdown. But this president has made a decision to not provide those funds. So I wanted to talk about what is happening here in Massachusetts. The Attorney General, Andrea Campbell, is in court this morning seeking an order that will order the Trump administration to release those funds. In addition, we have been preparing with partners for days now to address this. So this morning, I want to talk about how people can get help if they need it, and how people can provide help if they're able to do so. We start by supporting our local food banks, food pantries, and community organizations who feed people every single day. They're expecting a big surge in demand, so the first thing is we want to help them in this difficult moment. I've been heartened to see the turnout in recent days, and I continue to encourage people to visit your local food pantry, contact them, and see what you can do. As a state, we are going to advance $4 million to our food banks, which support over 800 community organizations around the state. This is from our existing MEFAP program, which is the Massachusetts Emergency Food Assistance Program, that already provides $4 million to our community partners every month. So given the expected spike in demand, we are going to be doubling that. In addition, I announced last week that we have stood up through United Way, the United Response Fund, to get more resources to local banks and food pantries all across the state. Massachusetts has responded. We received over $1 million in donations in just the last week alone. I want to thank every single person who's contributed, and I want to thank the United Way for their partnership on this. Marty Martinez will speak in just a few moments more about this. Businesses are also important allies in this moment. If you run a farm, a grocery store, a restaurant, look, I know many of them are already working to help our friends and neighbors, but know to those folks as well. If you run a farm, if you run a grocery store, or you have a restaurant, there are actually food recovery organizations who specialize in taking excess food and getting it to people in need. There's a company, R4 Technology, who has recently come forward and committed to providing 10,000 pounds of fresh produce to be distributed to Massachusetts families in need. R4 Technologies is an example of one of these food recovery organizations that I'm talking about. We also put together a website. It stood up this morning. It's called the SNAP Response Hub. It's at mass.gov/snapfreeze. It has resources for people who need food, options for individuals and organizations, businesses who want to help. And I'll say this, in addition to, one thing I forgot to mention that also bears noting, I talked about a third are seniors, a third are people with disabilities, a third are children. Did you know that there are over 21,000 veterans in Massachusetts who receive SNAP? That's 9% of all the veterans in our state. Almost 1 in 10 vets and their families in Massachusetts could go hungry. As I mentioned, I'm already seeing people in Massachusetts step up. It's no surprise. Massachusetts, we're a state that cares about one another. The city of Methuen, for example, has opened 8 food centers for donations and is partnering with community organizations for clothing and other goods. The South County Senior Center in Sunderland is working with local organizations to provide food to older adults. Our own Department of Agricultural Resources is making sure that our farms and other food system businesses can quickly get connected to relief efforts through the Mass-Grown Exchange. And the Big Y supermarket chain, based in Springfield, has launched in-store fundraising campaigns for our local food banks to help residents find food. This is a moment for coming together in our state to support our neighbors, our coworkers, the people we see at daycare, the people we see at church. There are folks all among us who are SNAP recipients who are going to be impacted this weekend. So for anyone who has the means to help, I encourage you to do so. And to those of you who are headed into this weekend with tremendous anxiety, know that we will do everything that we can to help you and your families. Again, I encourage people to visit the mass.gov/SnapFreeze website to see how you can help and to see what resources are available in your community. And the leaders standing with me today will share a little bit more about what people can do. And at this time, I'd like to ask Marty to come forward and talk a little bit more about the United Response Fund.
Thank you, Governor and Lieutenant Governor, and not only for what we're doing today, but your leadership in this moment. It's critically important. Again, Marty Martinez with United Way of Massachusetts Bay, proud to be here mobilizing and organizing our partners to support the work that we're trying to do statewide. I, along with the 12 other United Ways, which represent and cover every city and town in Massachusetts, are working to mobilize donations, connect with partners, and increase the amount of resources that we can actually put out back into the community to support folks getting access to food. As the governor said, we're grateful for the over $1 million that we've already been able to raise, but we all know that much more is needed. So again, there's another call to action from me and from all of our United Way partners for folks who are able to donate. You can visit unitedwaymassbay.org/united-response. It's unitedwaymassbay.org/united-response. And folks can go on there and donate. You can donate for statewide efforts. You can donate locally to the United Way that supports the area that you live in. And there's also the ability for folks now and organizations to apply for resources at that site. One of the things we do at United Way and what we're built for is raising money quickly and getting money out quickly. And that's an important part of what this is about, to be able to do that at that site. And so that's been an important part of what we're trying to do, is increase resources so that we can distribute those out into the community. In that vein, tomorrow, we actually will put out $50,000 to several different small organizations who are a point of contact for folks to get access to food. We'll be making a commitment, a financial contribution to the Salem Food Pantry so they can expand food distribution at their market and mobile locations that are already seeing an increase in advance of what's coming with SNAP. We'll also be making a financial commitment to the Boys and Girls Club of Dorchester, who's already identified dozens of families who have reported being worried about losing SNAP and figuring out how to get the resources they need. These local access points are critically important for us to create access for food and for us to get the resources to them to be able to do that in partnership with the food bank and food pantries and other resources that are there. As a member of the Governor's Anti-Hunger Task Force, I can say it's been clear we need to ensure that resources are statewide, and we also need to ensure that community-based food access has the supports necessary, and that's what the United Response Fund is trying to make happen in partnership and through the leadership of the governor and the lieutenant governor. So I'll leave you with the notion that we need to continue to do what we can do. Private sector, individuals, all support is necessary. And at the fund, at the United Response Fund, you can not only get involved and commit to the work, but you can also engage and support this critical moment that many of our neighbors are facing. With that, I'll pass it to Erin McAleer from Project Bread.
Thank you, Governor Healey, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, Marty, and Catherine for all standing here today. But today I'm speaking to anyone who right now is feeling worried. Maybe you're standing in your kitchen, looking at what's in the food or pantry, and wondering how it will last the week. Maybe you're scrolling through your bills or thinking about next month, and it all feels so overwhelming. If that's you, please hear me. You are not alone. Our team of counselors at Project Bread's Food Source Hotline are real people. We are ready to listen, help, and guide you through your options. We can connect you to a local food pantry or community meal program and share tips to stretch your food budget or get fresh, healthy food on your table and help you apply for SNAP. This live support is available in 180 languages and over the phone and also through chat. It's free, it's confidential, and we know that everyone deserves this support, no matter where they come from or what language they speak. No one in Massachusetts should face this crisis alone. I want to be clear, and if you only remember one thing from today, I hope it's this. Reaching out to ask for help is a sign of strength. It's how we take care of one another. Hunger is not an individual failing. Hunger is a policy failure, and policy is in fact failing us right now. When a caregiver skips meals, it affects their health and their ability to provide for their family. When families are stressed about food, it ripples through neighborhoods, schools, and workplaces. Hunger is bad for all of us. That's why getting help matters, for you, for your family, and for everyone around you. And it's also why all of us need to take action. This moment calls for grace, generosity, and compassion. If you need support, please call us. It's why we are here. Or if you're able to, share our phone number with a friend, a neighbor, a family member. Join us to advocate for policy change, donate, volunteer. This is an all-hands-on-deck moment. Every action, big or small, makes a difference. Project Bread is here for all of us because we are strongest when everyone has enough to eat. Call or text Project Bread's Food Source Hotline at 1-800-645-8333 or visit projectbread.org. There's more information on our website. We are here for you in this fight. Now it's my pleasure to turn over to my colleague and partner, Catherine D'Amato from the Greater Boston Food Bank.
Thank you. Thanks, Erin and Marty. As you can see, we're a collaborative group of providers that we work together to do the things that we do best, whether it's raise money, raise food, distribute it, make sure that SNAP benefits are to every citizen of our state that deserves it. So as noted by Erin, we have 1 in 3 individuals in our state that are hungry. And 80% of those individuals that go to food pantries across the Commonwealth also are on SNAP. This is a very significant number. Across the state, we have hundreds of organizations that are part of this knitted system of pantries, meal programs, shelters, after-school programs, mobile markets, veterans programs, elders programs. They're all able to access food from their local food bank, whether that be Greater Boston Food Bank, which is Cape Ann to Cape Cod and the islands, and includes Merrimack Valley Food Bank, Worcester County Food Bank, or the Food Bank of Western Mass. Those 4 are part of the MEFAP recipients that the governor spoke about, and that additional advancement of $4 million has already gone to work. In Boston, we are putting 75 pallets more every day into the field. That's about 4 trailer loads of food every day out into the community across the network. So there's no way that any one of us can solve this problem. But collectively, we can do a lot for those of you that are seeking assistance. And I agree with Erin, and I know Marty would say this too. This is not a shameful moment at all. This is what we are built to do, is to help you and to be there for you. How can you help? As already noted, you can give money. Terrific. You can give food if you have it, whether you're a retailer, a restaurant, a wholesaler, a farmer, you can do that as well. You can volunteer. You can make sure you know and are part of your community's response at this time. Because philanthropy can't do it alone, but it can help a great deal. So as Erin noted, if you need help, you can reach out. In Eastern Massachusetts, you can visit gbfb.org/need-help. Put in your zip code and it will direct you to all the programs in your community that are available to provide food. This is the same if you are in Worcester County. It's foodbank.org, Merrimack Valley Food Bank, mvfb.org, Food Bank of Western Mass, foodbankwma.org. We are all here to help you. Also encourage folks to talk with their places of worship, to look at their city or town hall websites. United Way, American Red Cross, YMCA, YWCA. We have so many great organizations that can assist you and direct you. We are all here working together to help at this very critical moment for people who find themselves in a great deal of hurt, and we are here to help. Amid all this uncertainty, one thing is clear, and I know I say this for all of you, the governor, lieutenant governor, Marty, Aaron, the Greater Boston Food Bank. Food is a basic human right. We are a state that cares about people. Hunger is a nonpartisan issue, as Aaron stated so clearly, and we are going to be here every single day to help our neighbors in need until hunger no longer exists. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Aaron, and thank you, Marty. We've got great organizations and great people who have been working hard for a long, long time on these matters, and I really appreciate everybody stepping into action here. And we're happy to take any on-topic questions.
So is this advancement just for 1 month, or I wonder if you could explain how that works?
Yeah, it's going to be an advancement for 1 month. You know, again, the Attorney General's in court today with, I think it's a total of 25 states, asking the court to order Donald Trump to do what is right and release those contingency funds that he's sitting on, so that during this shutdown, people who are the most vulnerable among us in Massachusetts and around this country aren't left out in the cold. So, you know, we're gonna take it month by month.
Governor, you talked about the USDA has its reserve fund. The state has an $8 billion rainy day fund. Why not tap into that now?
Those are very different things. No state is tapping into its rainy day fund or stabilization fund, as it's called. No state is doing that, and there's a reason for that. This is all happening in the context of Donald Trump having already cut $1 trillion from our healthcare system, okay? $1 trillion has been taken out of our healthcare system to pay for very rich people to have even more generous tax cuts. And the $1 trillion that's taken out of the healthcare system is going to be used to cover that. It's also the case there are a lot of federal programs that Americans rely on. SNAP is one. We also have WIC, which is funding for women, infants, and children. That's due to run out in another couple weeks. We also have a federal program called LIHEAP that helps people, in particular seniors, pay their heating bills, stay warm in the winter. That's slated to run out another week from now. I could go on. There are many, many more programs impacted, including Head Start. And so all of this is happening at the same time. What we do know is that USDA has this fund and a contingency fund specifically for SNAP that it could release. And that's why the AG is in court right now asking for it to be released. You know, Massachusetts, I think, is ahead of some other states in certain respects. I think we have among the most generous MFAP programs in the country. We certainly have the best network of food banks, food pantries, and providers and service organizations who work together constantly. We also are ahead in the sense that we established an anti-hunger task force earlier this summer. Already we have been meeting and coordinating on how best to deliver food to people, but I continue to call on those who can do something, those who can afford to give money to these organizations, those who can afford to give their time, those who can give food to these groups. It's desperately, desperately needed, and we're going to continue to you know, look for ways that we can help as we call on the president to release these funds.
Governor, you also left $800 million in the FY26 budgeted but unspent. Are those funds, I think in part to deal with consequences of federal actions, could those funds not be used for something like this?
You know, let's get back to you on that. I think that 800 is not the current figure on that, and so, you know, there's a lot that we're having to account for right now and plan for. Again, you know, it is my hope that we get a court order today that reestablishes the flow of SNAP benefits. It's certainly my hope that Republicans in Congress get back to work. They've been, I mean, I don't know if people know this, but the Republicans have not been in the Capitol in over a month. They're just choosing not to go, and they're staying quiet while their president, you know, tells them what to do. And I guess he's still in Asia. But my hope is that, he comes back and gives the congressional Republicans the permission, the green light, to get back to the Capitol, to get to work on reopening government. I mentioned veterans earlier. I think about our federal workers. Our food system was already feeling it, just like our unemployment system is feeling it, because of the tens of thousands of federal workers who have been furloughed or let go in this state, to say nothing of people who've lost jobs because, around this country, it's getting more and more expensive to do business. When I talked about SNAP benefits last week, I talked about the fact that a lot of our local grocers and retail operations actually rely on this SNAP revenue to do their business. And without it, they're going to end up laying off people. So it's a terrible situation. It is an awful situation. It's an unacceptable situation. And it is also a needless situation. This has been created by the president, and he really needs to change it. And in the meantime, Massachusetts will work with those in government and those in our wonderful not-for-profit community and our business community to do all we can to help people in Massachusetts.
You said that no other states have tapped into their rainy day funds, but a number of our neighbor states have tapped into other reserve funds. New York, $30 million. Vermont says it's covering the first 15 days of SNAP in full, $6.3 million. Any conversation about using any reserve funds to do something similar?
I don't know all the specifics of those funds out of other states. I can tell you, though, I don't know what the order, do you know what the order is for SNAP benefits in New York? They're going to put $30 million towards something. California's going to put $80 million towards something. But as you can imagine, the number of SNAP beneficiaries in those states just far outweighs whatever states are able to do. And that's why we need the USDA to release those funds. Right now, it is the case that no state who funds SNAP in the meantime is going to be reimbursed by the federal government. Federal government has told us that. There may be some states that have some emergency funds. We don't have that available. I know that the state of Hawaii is, I guess, going to shift some money that is in their TANF program over to cover this. Of course, the TANF program is up for expiration in another couple weeks. So, we're in this position of having to try to manage things. And that's why I'm so grateful for those of you who were able to make a donation to the United Way site or to a local food pantry, able to volunteer, able to give food. I appreciate all that you've done and just encourage more and more people to do that. I appreciate our businesses, our retailers, even our grocery stores. I think about Big Y. They're hit by this, and yet they're working to find ways to take care of Bay Staters. And, if there's one thing I know about Massachusetts, it's that we take care of people and we help people where we can. And this is certainly a time. And I'm sorry that we are at this moment in our country's history. But I know we can be strong and be resilient. I think it's really important what Aaron and Catherine spoke about. If you're worried right now about how you're going to feed your family, how you're going to feed your kids, please call Project Bread. Please reach out. You are not alone. 1 in 7 people in Massachusetts receive SNAP. 1 in 7, okay? No one's alone here. And it's up to all of us to do our part, all that we can from where we are.
Last question.
Governor, was Lamar Cook vetted, and after yesterday's news, are you making any hiring process changes after his arrest and prosecution?
That individual underwent a complete background check. He's been terminated. He was immediately terminated. And that's all I can say right now. As you know, it's subject to a criminal investigation, so I can't comment further.
Concerned that you're not making any hiring process decisions after this?
No changes at all. We have an extensive background process.
He had no public
Yep.
policy background. He came from hotel management. What qualified for him for this position, and how and why was he chosen?
I'm not going to comment on this right now. I can't. It's subject to criminal investigation. So you can ask the district attorney's office.
Is this a decision made by your office?
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody.